Hello, welcome. I'm going to call to order Monday. We're usually here on Wednesday, April 27th, Cedarburg School Board meeting. This is the regular meeting of the Cedarburg School Board and is a public meeting. Prior notices have been placed in the district and additional copies were forwarded to the city and town of Cedarburg, as well as the news graphic and Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, April always brings some changes to the school board, and I'd like to start off with welcoming Jake Hebda as our new school board member, and also to welcome back Connie Kincaid for her second term. And with that, we always have a board reorganization every April for the next term. So we are going to take nominations for the school board officers. So with that, I will entertain any nominations for president. I nominate Laura Strobel for president.
Second.
All right, are there any other nominations?
Can I just ask clarification? When we're doing the board organizational meeting, usually I thought we had a clerk or a superintendent lead off the process rather than the current sitting president? No? Okay. All right. So can you say again what's on the floor nomination-wise, Laura?
Sure. The nominations are for president, vice president, clerk, treasurer, and secretary. And right now we are voting on or nominating someone for the president. And there's one nomination.
Correct. And could you, perhaps I could have been more clear. Could you please state who offered the nomination and who the nomination for president has been just now?
Sure. I believe Elizabeth Charlin nominated myself for president and Paul Demchak seconded that.
Okay. And just for clarification, a nomination is not needed for, a second is not needed for a nomination, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. I'll nominate myself for president.
Okay, and are there any other nominations? Okay, with that, we will have what is termed a secret ballot, and that will be handled by Brenda.
Prior to the secret ballot, any individual who puts their name forth for a nomination or who is nominated is afforded an opportunity to state whether they would like to be nominated or are presenting themselves. So I'll go ahead and take that opportunity quickly here. From my perspective, we are a young board. 4 of the 7 members of this board went through an appointment process. 4 have gone through 2 election cycles. Others have gone through 1. And I think there's a moment right now where we have an opportunity to show that we are a board that values learning opportunities and allowing individuals to lean into learning through leadership. From my personal experience, I do have 2 terms as a board president that observed Robert's rules of order for small boards. And of course, this is the second term on this board. In addition to that, I placed my name for appointment twice before that and have been incredibly involved in our district since 2016. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
have 6 votes for this and no vote for the rename.
All right, thank you. We will now move on to vice president, and I would like to nominate Kate Netzel if she is willing to take this nomination for vice president.
I will second that.
I'll nominate myself for vice president, and then once again, I'll take the opportunity to show that I believe our board has an opportunity to be a learning board, cycling opportunities for leadership. I have also served as a vice president for an organization within our district. Thank you.
And with that, are there any other nominations? Okay, Brenda? Thank you. All right, thank you. We will move on to clerk. I will accept any nominations for clerk.
I nominate Elizabeth Charlotte.
I will second that. Any other nominations?
I'll nominate myself for clerk. I'll take the opportunity to share once again that I believe our board has a unique opportunity at this point in time to lean into leadership where there is turn taking and opportunities for individuals at this board to gain experience in different roles. As far as clerking goes, my background is in note taking, understanding how canvassing works, understanding what a clerk can and cannot do in regards to elections, and I would be happy to serve as clerk.
Thank you. Any other nominations? All right, Brenda? Thanks.
For Charlotte and 1 vote for the rename.
All right, thank you. We will move on to treasurer. I will accept nominations for treasurer.
I nominate Dr. Nick Salvaggi.
I will second that. Do I have any other nominations?
I'll nominate myself. I'll take this last opportunity here to share that from my perspective, we have an opportunity to be a learning board where individuals have the opportunity to gain more experience in different roles other than being simply a board member. On the personal experience side, I failed to mention insofar as both clerk and treasurer, my experiences in note-taking for our city committees. I hold a state position where I am both secretary and treasurer. And for each one of my campaigns, which all need to have an understanding of campaign finance laws, regulations, I served as my own treasurer.
May I ask?
In addition to serving in these capacities, I serve as a county board supervisor and have a great understanding of our finances here in the district as well throughout the county. And at this time, statements are not open to questions. Thank you.
All right, Brenda?
Thank you.
Votes for Dr. Savachi.
All right, thank you. And with that, our final position, I will nominate for our secretary, Brenda Roth.
I will second that.
Are there any other nominations for secretary? All right, with that, we can take a voice vote. All those in favor of Brenda Roth as secretary, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Vote passes 7-0. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to have one comment. We are having a semi-technology free day, as the schools did. Board Docs, which is the platform the district uses for all of its meeting agendas and our what we use for our calendar and so forth, is down today. So Brenda has copied a lot of the paper that we usually would be looking at our Chromebooks for. So bear with us as we're shuffling through more paper than we usually do. Thank you. And with that, Dr. Clerk.
All right, so the next portion of this meeting is for the board to take a look at the 2026-27 board and committee meeting calendar. Those should be in your packet there. By and large, the meetings are very similar to where they were last year. I would point out one difference, though, being in the policy committee schedule. In the past, we'd had meetings in October and in April. Some concern had been raised, especially, we were supposed to talk about it tonight, is sometimes if you make so much changes in policy and you have new board members on the April board meeting, we're asking them to vote on policies that they haven't looked at before. So desire there to move that meeting to May, and then just to keep it spaced out throughout the year, the other one would be in November. Based on some recently passed legislation, while we don't have it on the current version of the calendar, one thing that I think it would be worthwhile to do is add a meeting in August, and that is based on, again, recently passed legislation, Act 8889, and whether or not any of those changes need to be reflected in policy, and that would be something that would come out in the next month or two.
Okay, and with that, I will take a motion to approve the 26-27 school board and committee meeting calendar.
Can I ask a clarification? We just heard that there was discussion of an August meeting for policy. August is not reflected here unless I'm missing something. So do we need it reflected here?
Somebody could just add it in the motion.
Okay, so since there's not a motion on the floor already, can I make a motion to include that August meeting?
Yes.
And Dr. Clark, was there a date? Does anyone have a calendar for those Wednesday dates in August?
Are you looking that up, Brenda? Okay.
She'll be faster than I will.
Yes, I think August 12th would be the appropriate date.
Okay.
I'd make a motion to accept the, school board and school board committee meetings calendar as presented with the addition of August 12th for the policy committee to meet.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I had just asked Dr. Clark prior to the meeting for curriculum. Right now it's scheduled every month, and whether that is basically helpful, necessary still. My understanding is that hasn't been meetings where there's not something to talk about. So from my perspective, I'm taking this as a calendar that is working well for staff. And if that's not the case, I'm hoping that we're hearing about it and that even though we're approving monthly curriculum committee meetings, that if there's not a need for those committee meetings, like I think has happened a couple of times in the past, those are canceled or maybe moved. So
Yes.
that's how I am reading what's proposed here.
All right, any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the 26-27 school board and committee meeting calendar with the addition of a policy committee meeting on August 12th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That vote passes 7-0. Thank you.
All right, now we jump to the consent agenda. So with regards to the consent agenda, board members, I ask that you approve the minutes from the regular board meeting on March 18th, 2026, the budget and finance report, which includes a summary of account, check register, check detail, and credit card transaction reports, and the personnel report. Mr. Grossa, Director of Human Resources, will provide a brief overview of the personnel report.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. Good evening, school board. This evening, we are seeking approvals for the following separations of employment and hires. We have Anna Gilman, who is resigning, district ELL teacher, Joelle Hartline, instructional coach at Webster. And after a fantastic career at Webster, definitely going to be missed, Patty Knudsen, 8th grade ELA teacher. Seeking approval for the following hires: Evelyn Wagner, ed teacher at Borson, Sarah Dvorsky, teacher at Webster, Nathaniel Pillow, math teacher at Webster, and Cordelia Fleischman, 2nd grade teacher at Westlawn. And then lastly, the transfer, that doesn't happen too often, Jake Cole at Webster, 8th grade math, going down to 6th grade.
All right, and with that, I will take a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'd like to make a request that we approve that the vote is taken on items A and C as one, and then B separated out for a vote right afterward.
All right. Was that a motion or a request? A request?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. Well, I will take a motion to approve items A and C. So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion to approve items A and C of the consent agenda. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving items A and C as part of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That vote passes 7-0. We will move on to the item B, budget and finance report. I will make a motion to approve the budget and finance report from the consent agenda.
So moved.
That would lead to second.
And second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, so after going through this, our different expenses here, thank you again, Brenda, for printing everything out. I appreciate it. I do see on pretty much the last page, one expense of a BOE summit for Zeppi Will Incorporated for $185. Is it a reasonable assumption to make that this is the expense for the Will Education Summit?
Yes.
Thank you. So I will be voting no to this, to item B, budget and finance report. This was a line item that came up in a previous year, and I just wanted to share with the public why I am not in favor of this being something that is public dollars going towards this particular education summit. The reading, the organizations that are at the forefront of this, that are front facing, 1848 Project explicitly states building Wisconsin's next generation of conservative leaders, founded by Rebecca Kleefisch. We move on to the Leadership Institute, where conservative leaders are made. We move on to the Freedom Foundation. Stop woke agendas, don't let leftist tyrants destroy our public schools. I could go on, I won't. You are welcome to dig into this to as much as you want. It continues to be my belief that our public dollars should not be going to this particular education summit. That truly is not, it is espousing views that are not inclusive of the people in our community and furthers the language, most especially of calling everyone who serves in our schools, whether it's teachers, school board members, etc., leftist tyrants. I don't think it's appropriate. I will be voting no. Item B.
I can provide a little bit more information on the topic just discussed. So that conference was this past Friday. I attended that, and there were school board representatives from over 30 districts in the state who attended it, including entire school districts such as McGuanago that invite their whole administrative team, the superintendent, the curriculum director, their whole administrative team. It's a very valuable event to attend. There's people from all different backgrounds that attend this meeting. Some of the topics discussed were key legal updates affecting Wisconsin school districts, the First Amendment and school authority relating to educators, staff, board members, students. A really great presentation about rethinking screens, and really important for thinking about how students, is it better to kind of go back to pen and paper in some instances rather than having so many things via Chromebook or smart boards. Some really great school finance topics. One person that you may know, Connie, Larry Dux, who's our WASB regional director, I believe, he attended, and I had some great conversations about with him on the conference, and he thought that many of the presentations were valuable. And I would just say that this conference is held to kind of be a counterpoint to the long-standing WASB conference, which used to be the only prospective board members to attend.
Point of order. WASB is not mentioned within this packet. Point of order.
No, I'm just describing a little bit more about.
Point of order.
That's all. Thank you.
I guess I'll add, I attended as well, and I found it very informative. It is billed as it is a non-political event. Those groups that Connie mentioned were kind of off on one side. I never even went by the tables just because they have information out. If any of you go to conventions or anything where they have a lot of sponsors who have their tables. I think one point I walked away with that was, I thought, really good in this day and age. They talked about our country, and we're coming up on celebrating our 250th anniversary, and that this country was founded with a difference of opinions, and that we have to work as a whole to have disagreements, because we all will have disagreements, and I don't think any of us want to live in a country where we all have to believe the same thing. And I really found that to be a valuable piece and something I do want to remember. So is there anything else here that we'd like to discuss on item B of the consent agenda?
I'll reiterate, I will be voting no. And if any community members would like to discuss this with me afterwards, I am very easy to find and get a hold of. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, all those in favor of approving item B of the consent agenda? Aye. Opposed? No. Abstentions? All right, that vote passes 6-1. Thank you.
All right, we're going to jump into the superintendent's report. This evening we have two reports for the board. The first report will be provided by John Hammond, CHS Athletic Director, and he will share the CHS Winter Sports recognitions.
Thank you, Dr. Card. I'm excited to share the outstanding accomplishments from the winter sports season. Before we get into the accomplishments of our student athletes and a few other items, I just wanted to share with everyone here some data that we've started tracking is the GPAs of our varsity teams here. So you see, to this point, we have our fall and winter teams, and this is why our walls are here. And to me, this is extremely impressive and something that is a collective effort of our parents, community members, and obviously our staff here. And if you take a look at this, we have a couple teams that have over 4.0 GPAs, and we'll obviously be adding our spring teams as we have that data. But this is something that is process oriented, that to me is far more important than any of the outcomes that we'll be celebrating and sharing here in a little bit here, because this is, what this is all about here is academics here. So this really puts the students and student athletes. So I wanted to start off with this. We also track our participation, and this is all encompassing extracurriculars, so not just sports, but clubs and fine arts. So like we have our environment team here tonight that's going to speak after this, and they're part of this data with our clubs. So we have over 40 clubs, and you see our club you see our extracurricular participation. So this notes every student here who is participating in something. Okay, so you see over the past 4 years here how our data is trending, and we're holding, if not increasing, which talking with other schools in the area, that's pretty difficult, especially in the sports realm where students are being pulled one direction. So we're very proud of this data because this also reflects if they're having a positive experience. So I want to share this with you. Okay, and we're also very proud to be offering additional clubs. Okay, I want to thank Dr. Clark. We have 2 new clubs, Tony DeRosa. There's other people in the room here. I know about our girls' flag football team, a junior dance team, and those are very exciting to be providing those offerings when we already have a lot of different offerings, because we want to identify that 14% up at the top there and get as many students participating around here as possible. And we also have a Hall of Fame induction ceremony in February, and this was special to me as I coached both of these individuals and taught them. So we have Nick Bayline, who is just an incredible 3-sport athlete, and then we had Jonathan Stever, who is first team All-State in football, and he's our only baseball player who played in the major leagues. So both were extremely deserving. And then we have a Hall of Fame coach who's here, who recently retired, and again, very special to me. And I also echo for Casey Bullock here. We both played for him. And going back, showing my age here, where Cedarburg football was a doormat. And when Brian took over, we immediately became successful, and then, really right after that, one of the best teams in the state. And that was a credit to Brian to sustain that high levels of success. And you look at the level or all the accolades, the list right there. So very well deserving and a very fun day. And then getting into our winter sports here, so we have Robert Piscula, who is honorable mention for boys basketball. And then we had Abby Terroy, who broke the single game record for rebounds with 18. And then Kale Lynch was a state qualifier for wrestling. And then for gymnastics, we had state qualifiers with Peyton McPherson and Ava Vieira. And then our girls hockey co-op had an incredible season. They lost to the eventual state champions in the sectional final, and I think they'll be back at that point next year, if not further, because we returned basically everyone. And we have Elizabeth Bowers, who was first team all conference, and then Kennedy Bisto, who was honorable mention all conference. And then this is called the Grayson Rudich slide. Okay, and it's very deserving here. So he was a state champion in the 500 freestyle, and he did it in dominant fashion, and it was awesome to watch in person. And he's just a great kid, and we don't have too many state champions around here, so he's on a list. It'll be up in our field house there, and the work and everything he puts in, and like I said, just an unbelievable kid. And then he also placed third in the 200 freestyle. So just an unbelievable day for him. And we had the Grayson slide. This is the fourth place slide. Okay, so you see here we had Dominic Henderson place fourth in the 100 butterfly, and then we had Quinn Edwards place fourth in diving. And then we had Colin Pelshek place fourth in the 500 freestyle. And as you can tell here, boys swim, they had a great season and a great end to the season here. So the relay team of Tyler Braun, Dominic Henderson, Colin Pelshek, and Grayson Rudich placed sixth in the 200 relay and the 400 relay. And then these same individuals, in addition to Quinn, were all conference. So a great season for them, and Nick Rudich, our head coach, does a great job with the boys team and the girls team. All right, on to boys hockey. We had Eli King and Ethan Burke. They were both honorable mention all conference. And then for our dance team, they advanced to state for the third year in a row. And then robotics, they were state champions, and I think we're a proud mom up front here. They did great, and watched them this past Sunday, the Sunday before. It was a very exciting competition all day long. And then they head off to Worlds, what is it, tomorrow at 4 a.m., I think?
Yes, indeed.
We celebrated them today around the school. It was a lot of fun. And they put in as much work as anyone. When I'm leaving at night, I'm here on the weekends, they're here at all hours. So it's a credit to all the work they put in. And then our U-ball team, they were state champions. I had a lot of fun watching them last Thursday. So you see them with the gold ball here. And, a lot of fun. They did it in dominant fashion. And what was really cool about this, and again, we don't have a lot of champions here. So this is very impromptu. I haven't gotten any trouble for this yet here. So we got some students to come outside and celebrate them as the bands play, because a lot of our champions, it's like at night or on the weekend. So this is really cool for the student support, and I really think speaks to the culture we have around here. And this was a lot of fun celebrating them as they roll back in. So had a lot of fun doing this, and had a lot of fun celebrating their success. So that rounds out our winter sports season. Any questions?
How's fundraising going for Worlds? Either Kate or Dan?
Talking to Dan, I know the fundraising has been going well. They've had some really large donations, so they're in a good spot. I know.
Okay.
I don't have a specific number or anything like that, but I know they're in a good spot. Yeah.
I did watch all weekend long. And it was amazing. I can't even imagine being a parent watching those games, because I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. So kudos to all the parents who stick it out for those lengthy days and tournaments. It was incredible to watch. And I did get the chance to see the U-ball games, and learned something that I probably should have known, but I didn't know before, that the team members, the ones who take the shots, are only the students that have disabilities. And that's not really how every other team has to play, but that's how the Cedarburg team
That's how it
plays.
is, yeah.
And I've been to several games, but this past one on Thursday was like nothing I've seen before. When you say they dominated the court, it was just incredible. So if anyone hasn't been able to go to those games, highly, highly recommend.
Yeah, we had a fan bus there, which is neat, so they had great support at the game. It was a lot of fun.
I just want to thank you for all the work. The statistics on the participation is really amazing. I mean, it's a well-known fact that extracurricular participation really helps the overall student in many ways. And just the fact of the expansion of the committees, the groups, beyond athletics as well. Just the clubs, finding just something for every student of an interest. And it's amazing. So thank you. It's not an easy task.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you, Chad. All right, the next report is going to be about our CHS Environment team, and Casey Bell, CHS principal, is here to present the team.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. Also state champions. This is the back-to-back two-time state championship Environment team. So please welcome advisor Katie Schlicht and the CHS Environment team.
Thank you, Cedarburg School Board and Casey Bowe for having us here tonight. We're really excited to share what we do. It's something that we started about 3 years ago. I love natural resources, and I wanted to share that with students, and I wanted to see if some of my AP Environmental Science students were interested in doing a little more competition and getting to learn more about natural resources, and some of them took me up on it, and we've been learning ever since. And so some of our students here today will share a little bit about our zone.
Okay, what is the Environthon? The Environthon is an environmental competition in which students will participate in different tests about the fields of natural resources. There are 5 categories in the Environthon: forestry, aquatics, soils, wildlife, and a current issue presentation. Each student will specialize in one of the 4 fields and will guide their group as they take the test on that subject. The NCF Environthon mission is to educate students about the environment and the conservation of natural resources through hands-on outdoor experiences, academic study, and collaborative competitions. For our accomplishments as a team, in 2024, we were the state champions, and we were able to go to nationals in New York. And then in 2025, we also won state, and we were able to go to Canada, Alberta for nationals. And then this year, we had 2 teams compete, and Team 1 got 3rd place overall, and Team 2 got 12th. Great, so why do we compete in the Environthon? All the students who take part in the Environthon all have interest in some part of environmental science. The Environthon is a fun experience in which students can experience and learn about real-world parts of environmental science. The students who are interested in a career in natural resources or environmental science is a good first step that will help them later on in finding a career that they enjoy. Another fun part about the Environthon is that students get to meet and collaborate with peers that have similar interests as them. They can also get a chance to interact with professionals and talk about what they do.
So what does our year look like? So usually we meet every other week or sometimes every week to kind of get to know each other at first. And then we kind of study field equipment and memorize IB. A lot of these tests that we take rely on being able to identify wildlife, Wisconsin fish, plants. And so it takes a lot of brain power to do all that and try to cram it into your brain ready for those tests. So we spend a lot of time on memorizing. We also take a look at past test questions, try to get a game plan for how we're going to answer them. These students compete in 2 teams of 5, and so they can work together collaboratively on these tests. And so being able to work as a group is a skill that we work on a lot. We also present a current issue topic this year. It was on watershed health and water quality, about fertilizer runoff and phosphates in the water, and they had to solve an issue that was occurring in southeastern Wisconsin with a lake that was polluted, and the local community wanted it fixed. So we had to present a proposal to a board of judges, about 6 of them, in the profession that go out there as their job and take care of these issues. So we spent a lot of time on research, and we get about 3 weeks to put together a 10-minute presentation. And then we also bring in a lot of experts from the community. We have a lot of these individuals living right here in Cedarburg or nearby. We had a DNR forester come in each year to teach us about forestry equipment. We had a fish biologist, a wildlife biologist come on in. Restoring lands, they come in and talk about land conservation and how we can have easements that people can eventually donate their land to, and how that can help with our local ecosystem. We also have Ozaki Land and Water Management. The soil scientist comes on in and talks about soil, which isn't always the most fun subject, but it is really cool to get to know that somebody's job is to take a look at how soils relate to building structures and permits and things like that. So it's super fun to get to know that. And then we do have a resident soil scientist here in Washington County that has also come out to help us. And so we really appreciate all of these community members coming in and sharing their knowledge with our students. We definitely learn a lot from them. And so, there we go. We're going to have some students just share their thoughts about their experience in the marathon and what they've enjoyed the most.
Hello, my name is Maria Douglas. I'm a freshman at the moment. However, I started a marathon in 8th grade. My green team advisor came to us as 8th graders and said the high school marathon team did pretty well, and we're doing a middle school team. And that's how I got started. And it's been a super positive experience for me. I love it. I personally do aquatics because I had a little bit of background. I got to talk to some professionals, and I've talked to a couple of professionals since. And it's really exciting learning about what people do actually in the field. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. I learned, again, what pros do in the field, and I like exploring these interests, and meeting with people who have similar interests, like just in the school and in competition. It's a really easy way to get started in learning about these things. Like, I would have never thought to study these kind of things, but it really interests me.
Hello, my name is Buddy Wood. I'm also a freshman, and just like Moira, I came into the marathon last year as an 8th grader with Mrs. Rowan, the green team leader. And when she talked about it, I was like, it sounds like a really fun experience. And I just do forestry because my uncle is a forester, and he teaches me a lot about things like that. And something that I took away from this is just that there's so many different fields in like environmental science, like forestry, aquatics, like so many other ones. And I just love it, all of it, because I literally, like, with my friends, like, last year and this year, really just went probably closer to two of them, and it was, like, a really fun experience and all. And what took away out of it was that you can learn so much, just from, like, being, like, with other people and with a main person like Michelet.
My name is Maya Donnell, and I first heard about the marathon as a sophomore, but I joined the team last year as a junior. I have had so much fun with this experience of the marathon, and I've been able to learn so much. I am now going to UW Stevens Point next year to study environmental science and management, and I really think that marathon has helped me to prepare a lot for a career in environmental science, and it's helped prep me with a lot of the knowledge in that field and knowledge of different disciplines within the field. Hi, my name is Olivia. I'm a senior, and I joined the Environthon team when I was a sophomore because I was in AP Environmental Science. I did soil mostly for this, and my favorite part was when you're at the competition, they have a soil pit, which is a 6-foot hole in the ground where you go and get to identify all the different soil horizons. Next year, I'm going to be majoring in environmental science and environmental engineering at the University of Vermont. My name is Anna Dietz, and I'm also a senior, And I've been doing marathons since I was a sophomore, so for 3 years. I'm going to be majoring in environmental science, and I think being in a marathon has helped me learn a lot of new things that I wouldn't have learned if I hadn't been in the club. I specifically did forestry, so I learned a lot about how like measuring trees and tree ID. I think the competition itself is super fun. It's a lot of fun, like working with your team, using your shared knowledge to do well on all the tests. And I just enjoyed it throughout my 3 years and had learned a lot.
And then at this last event we went to, there was actually a previous CHS grad, Emily Freemuth, who was actually a volunteer at Envirothon, kind of a full circle moment there. She was there for as a person who was grading some of the aquatics tests, and she sent me a little write-up of why she was in Envirothon and how it's influenced her at college now. And so I thought I'd read that to you guys. She said, so my name is Emily Freemuth. I graduated in CHS in 2024. I'm currently enrolled at University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point as a second-year student, majoring in water resources with a minor in soil science and working toward certification in wetland science. I've always been interested in improving the environment, but during my time at CHS, two experiences really shaped my decision about where and what I'd like to study. Taking environmental science my junior year and competing in the Wisconsin Envirothon my senior year. The year I competed, the year I competed was the first year of CHS. Had participated in, so we were not entirely sure what to expect. However, we prepared using available rubrics and built strong foundations I gained in environmental science. At the competition in Rochelle, Wisconsin, we competed in written tests along with the presentation of the current issue. We also used field skills during the exam, and many of which I now use in my college courses. This experience helped prepare me for the academic and practical experience at UW-Stevens Point. Currently, I work as a lab technician in the water chemistry lab at UVSP. This summer, I was served as a teaching assistant at Tree Haven, where students work in groups to develop hands-on field skills in forestry, wildlife, water resources, and soil sciences. After I graduate in 2020, I hope to pursue a career related to water resource management, whether that is continuing in lab work or working as a county conservationist to help manage and protect watersheds. My experience at CHS and through Envirothon have significantly helped my academic path and career goals. I truly believe the programs like Envirothon provide students with valuable skills, meaning connections, and inspirations for their future careers in environmental fields. So really cool to hear from a past student who was impacted by Envirothon and is now going into that career path. It's also awesome to have our seniors also going into environmental science, and it just makes my heart so full that these students are going into fields that also are just so important to our everyday life. So thank you for having us. And yeah.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the team?
I had one question. It's just something to share. My kids are big into 4-H, and this year they got into forestry and wildlife. So when Board Docs was working yesterday and I could view the slideshow, I honestly did not know fully what Envirothon was. And then as soon as I pulled it up, I'm like, girls, come here, look. And this, because they do similar like tests like this at the 4-H level, and they all were super excited to see your presentation and to see that there are opportunities to study this type of thing at the high school level. So I just think that's really cool. And I had a question on, so it sounds like you focus on one area of study, like maybe soil or forestry. Is that in the competition, is that all that you focus on there, or do you kind of have to also take questions in any of the fields?
Yeah, so they take tests, individual tests in all 4 categories, and they have 60 minutes to complete the test. And so usually we have a student who is focused in on one category, and then they have a point person for that test. But anybody in the team can fill in and help out and try to remember some of the content. But yeah, all teams take each test and then present their own presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Do students get to have any input in the designs for the t-shirts and the apparel?
This is actually the official Wisconsin Envirothon logo. I tried to figure out who designed it, but even Wisconsin Envirothon doesn't know. So it's everybody, when we go to the national competitions, we bring t-shirts to give to other states. and to the Canadian provinces, and everybody wants our t-shirts. They're always the most coveted t-shirts at the event. So we don't have an official like CHS logo for the marathon, but we just use the Wisconsin Marathon logo.
Thank you.
I just want to thank each of you for coming. You guys did an awesome job of presenting. We recognize it's not easy to come here, and we just appreciate your time, appreciate how you represent the district, and best of luck to you. And you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. We understand you have homework and other things, or go test some soil. So thank you.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, it is time for public comment. No one has signed up. Is there anyone here who would like to address the board? Okay. Okay, since we have someone who is speaking, I have a lengthy paragraph I have to read, so bear with me here. So any district staff member, district resident, parent of a district student, or student enrolled in the district may comment during the public comment portion of a meeting per Board Policy 0167.3. For this meeting, the community may address the board during the public comment section of the meeting regarding topics within the legitimate jurisdiction of the board. Individuals making public comments are reminded that they are not immune from legal consequences related to their speech. This includes, but is not limited to, liability for speech that is contrary to the privacy, reputational, or due process rights of others, such as defamation or making false claims. Please make your comments to the board and not to any individuals in the audience. As this is a public meeting, it is expected that everyone in attendance will conduct themselves in a respectful and courteous manner that models appropriate behavior for our students. Speech or conduct that is threatening or disruptive is prohibited. In accordance with School Board Policy 0167.3, comments by an individual speaker shall not exceed 3 minutes in duration. When you approach the microphone, please state your name and address for the record. Please state the topic upon which you will be commenting. If you are under the age of 18 or are a student in Cedarburg schools, please only state your first name. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the district's website. During public comment, the board's role is to listen to the concerns presented. To ensure everyone has an opportunity to speak, board members will not engage in dialogue with presenters at this time, but may follow up after the meeting concludes.
So much longer on this side.
All right.
West 60 North 982 Glenwood Drive.
Hello, everyone. Now that I am no longer bound by board policy, I can speak freely about why I chose not to run again. As the most experienced member of the board, I repeatedly offered advice rooted in what's best for our students, but this board majority sidelined me, voting against evidence-based decisions. You cut social-emotional learning, allowed indoctrination into our curriculum, banned books that foster empathy and critical thinking, removed policy language meant to protect students, and prioritized building funds over fair pay for teachers and staff. Choices driven by politics, religion, and anti-intellectualism, not kids' needs. Watching certain districts due to their state report card scoring and complaints being I was approached by several of my friends and colleagues in the DPI and other state departments in regards to what was and is happening in the district. I realized then, over a year ago, that my abilities to serve the community was not to go low, like the board majority continues to choose to do so, but to go higher, as in over the board completely. Once I decided to leave the board after my term, the invitations and appointments to state-level committees and organizations started coming in. Due to board policy, I was only able to take several appointments immediately. Others had to wait until now. Yes, it's true there's local control in Wisconsin, but there are quite a few areas where the state has control and the final say. Had this board chose to go the way of working collaboratively towards what was best for students, I'd still be on the board. I'd still be bound to watch what I say and to protect the district, sometimes even at the expense of our students and staff. Instead, you chose politics, religion, and anti-intellectualism over and over and over again. You clearly showed that this evening with the choice of officers and the spending of district money on right-wing propaganda events. I see the click and plan of action is still going strong. Let me make this clear. My appointments will allow me to assist in protecting the students in this district and others across the state. These are things that you will not be able to vote no to. To the faculty, staff, and admins, I am still here to support you. You know how to reach me. To the students and parents, I am still available to you as well. I can be contacted several ways via social media and will assist you in any way that I can. Good luck to Mrs. Kincaid. And Jake, you're welcome for your seat. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else out there? All right, Dr. Clark, do you want to move forward with recommendation?
All right, this evening we will be presenting 8 recommendations to the board. The first recommendation is for the board to approve the business with personal finance for AP textbook for AP business. This recommendation is being forwarded by the curriculum committee to the full board for approval.
Okay, I will take a motion to accept the CHS AP business resource.
So moved.
I will second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the CHS AP business resource, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That vote passes 7-0. Thank you.
All right, the next recommendation is for the board to approve the Focus on Personal Finance Literacy textbook for the personal finance and college personal finance courses. This recommendation is being forwarded by the curriculum committee to the full board for approval.
All right, and without board docs in front of me, I am going to kind of take the abbreviated version here. I will take a motion on approving the CHS College Personal Finance and Personal Finance Resource.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the CHS College Personal Finance and Personal Finance Resource, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That vote passes 7-0. Thank you.
All right, the next recommendation is an annual recommendation, and it is for the board to approve the 2026-27 CISA 1 contract as presented. The contract of $119,000 is for the CISA 1 membership, 1 seat at New Connection School, and 3 seats at the Rosaki Community High School.
All right, I will take a motion to approve the 26-27 CISA 1 contractual agreement as presented.
I will make that motion.
I will second it. Any discussion? My quick question was whether this cost had gone up. It sounds like it's gone up a little bit, but not significantly.
Correct.
So that's it. Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the 26-27 CISA 1 contractual agreement as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, that vote passes 7-0.
All right, the next recommendation is for the board to approve all contracts for full-time and part-time teachers for the 2026-27 school year as presented. Per state law, teacher contracts, if they are not renewed by the board, they automatically renew on April 30th, unless there's a non-renewal submitted, and there are no non-renewals. So we'd be looking for the board to approve the contracts as presented.
All right, I will make a motion to approve the 26-27 full-time and part-time teacher contract renewals as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Dr. Clark, could you just explain, maybe just abbreviated, we're potentially approving these contracts. Should anything happen between now and next year where a contract no longer makes sense, approving this doesn't prohibit that contract from being voided. Is that clear language, or what am I missing?
So if there is a move, if something happens and there's deemed that a termination needs to occur, then yes, that can occur at any time. Honestly, if the board doesn't approve the contracts, they're going to be approved anyway on the 30th. So.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the 26-27 full-time and part-time teacher contract renewals as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, that vote passes 7-0.
All right, the next recommendation is for the board to approve the 2026-27 visual impairment, deaf and hard of hearing, and orientation and mobility service agreements as presented. The district uses High Educators LLC to provide the required IEP services. We have been very satisfied with their work this school year and are looking to extend the agreement for another school year. Each service will be billed in 15-minute increments at a rate of $25.
All right, I will take a motion to approve the 26-27 visual impairment, deaf and hard of hearing, and orientation and mobility services and agreements.
Still moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Just a quick question for this service agreement, since we do have students who are visually impaired, the contractual language is do our student or student families see any of these prior to the board voting on it?
No.
And how is it communicated, these services for their respective IEPs?
The services are determined through the IEP process, and then as a district, we determine how that service is provided.
And are we, okay, yes, I understand that. I could have worded my question differently. Is the district feeling assured that what we have budgeted is appropriate for the needs of our current students that are visually impaired?
Yes, and when we go through the budgeting process, we also try and project what may be coming next year. And yes.
Thank you.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the 26-27 visual impairment, deaf and hard of hearing, and orientation and mobility service agreements, vote aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, that vote passes 7-0.
All right, the next recommendation is for the board to approve the 26-27 audiological services agreement with Gateway Audiology LLC as presented. The district is currently using Gateway Audiology to meet the required IEP services for hearing impaired students. We've been very satisfied with their work this school year and are looking to extend the agreement for another school year. This service will be billed at a rate of $159 per hour in 15-minute increments.
All right, I will take a motion to approve the 26-27 audiology, oh, that's a tough one. Audiological Gateway Audiology Services Agreement as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the 26-27 Audiological Gateway Audiology Services Agreement as presented, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That vote passes 7-0. Thank you.
All right, for the next proposal, we were going to be taking a look at the policy updates, but with board docs being down, it's a little hard for the board members to be able to access and see exactly what was updated and changed and discussed in the policy committee. So my recommendation is that we receive a motion to postpone to next month's board meeting the discussion regarding policy updates.
All right, and I am going to make a motion to postpone the next month's board meeting regarding, to discuss, what did I write? I am going to make a motion to postpone to next month's board meeting the discussion regarding policy updates.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of postponing to next month's board meeting the discussion regarding policy updates, vote aye. Aye. Aye, I was in there too. Opposed? That vote passes 7-0. Thank you.
All right, the last recommendation is one that we always like to get to, and this is the board to accept the following donations. We have a $5,000 donation from the Green Bay Packers to support the CHS Flag Football Club, a $9,000 donation from the CHS Fine Arts Boosters to purchase two concert tubas for the CHS music program, $2,250 donation from the RCB group to support CHF athletics, $25,000 donation from the Greater Milwaukee Foundation to support the Culinary Arts Center, and $2,500 donation from Gary Walters to support the CHS Culinary Arts Center, a filtered drink fountain bottle filler valued at $2,075 from Zone LK Water Solutions to be installed at Parkview Elementary School. $93,500 donation from the Cedarburg Education Foundation to support new line panels and smart boards at the Webster Middle School, and a $10,000 donation from Wheel Pump to support the CHS robotics program. Total donations for April will be $149,325, and for the 25-26 school year will be $757,366.38.
All I can say is, wow, I'm glad I do not have to repeat all of those donations, and that is all in 1 month, and we have a very generous community. So I will take a motion to approve the donations as presented to the district. So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of approving?
Discussions.
I'm sorry, discussion.
I just had a quick question. I can't think of what new line panels at Webster is.
Those are the new panels that the teachers work on. They've replaced the smartboard panels, the monitors.
So we're replacing
So
the smart boards, junior
Yes.
panels?
Yes.
So
The majority,
Panels instead of majority smart board?
the majority of the panels, the majority of the smart boards are being replaced with new line panels. The smart boards in our math classes actually are being replaced with smart boards or smart panels.
Okay, thank you. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the donations made to the district as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That vote passes 7-0. That concludes the recommendations section of the meeting, and we will now move to committee reports. Mr. Sherlin, will you give an update on the curriculum committee meeting from April 8th?
Yes, this will be a little bit briefer than normal because of Word docs being down and I didn't get to reference Allie's great PowerPoints that are stored in there. But we met on April 8th this month, and we discussed 3 topics. The AP Business Resource, so that is a new AP Business class for the fall, and there's only one recommended textbook, and that is a textbook we approved this evening. And then just because the course is new. And the next topic was the personal finance and college personal finance resource. So that's going to be a new required semester course for state law for high school graduates. And we approved that book as well this evening. And that is just a new edition of a current book that's already taught in the business department. And finally, we had a math acceleration update. And I would say just check the board docs if you want to see what the exact updates were. But there has been a team that Allie has worked with from math educators across the district to solve the problem of, well, it's a good problem, but some 5th grade students who need math acceleration go to Webster for math acceleration, and some middle schoolers go to the high school for math acceleration, and the goal is to get the students to stay in their school so that they can be with their peers and do things like elementary students could do band and choir, which takes place in the morning, which they're not able to do. And at the elementary level, the plan is to generally stay in the classroom and assess by unit which students need acceleration and work with those students that way. And then for the middle school, there's just a handful of students this coming school year who would be going to the high school. So the plan is to keep them doing that. It's really just a handful of students and then come up with a long-term plan following that year. And again, see board docs for further details. And our next meeting is on May 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. You did an awesome job considering you didn't have those board docs. All right, and Mrs. Metzger will give us the policy committee meeting update, which really, if we had voted on them, it would have been anticlimactic, but here we haven't voted on that.
So we met on April 15th. We had close to 30 policies, drafts of policies to go over and update and discuss. I'm not going to list them all, but they are available on our webpage or website, and we will be voting on them next month. We will be meeting again on August 12th to discuss all of the upcoming policies that have changes to them.
All right, thank you. Well, we are going to adjourn into executive session, and I have some sections here I'm going to read. So we are adjourning into executive session to confer with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved pursuant to 19.851G of the Wisconsin statutes. And we're going to consider disallowance of claim. We will also be going into executive session to deliberate or negotiate the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons pursuant to 19.851E of the Wisconsin statutes. We will be consider strategy planning regarding upcoming negotiations with the Cedarburg Education Association. We are also entering executive session to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility pursuant to 19.851C of the Wisconsin statutes. And we will be considering a waiver of liquidated damages for a specific teacher. It is anticipated the board may reconvene into open session and may take action on one or more of the executive session items. We will be approving the executive session meeting minutes from January 21st, 2026. And with that, I am going to take a roll call to move into executive session. Dr. Savaji.
Aye.
Mrs. Shireland. Aye. Mrs. Metzel. Aye. Mrs. Strobel. Aye. Ms. Kincaid. Aye. Mr. Demchuk?
Aye.
Mr. Hebda? All right, that passes 6-1, and we are adjourned into executive session. Thank you, everyone, for attending tonight.